there is a lot of talk about eVTOLs taking over, changing urban air transport, and maybe even replacing helicopter jobs. But how much of that is real and how much is just marketing? Hey, I'm Devin. I'm a helicopter air ambulance pilot, but before that, I worked at a company called Beta Technologies, which is one of the leading companies that actually test flying these eVTOLs. So I have seen up close and personal where the industry is actually headed. By the end of this video, you're gonna know whether eVTOLs are a real threat to helicopter jobs, what changes, if any, pilots should be preparing for, and how long traditional helicopters will stay dominant in the industry.
That's like autopilot, dude. How do you fly a helicopter? Well, I'm going to show you.
Alright, so first up, this video is going to be some facts, but mostly my opinions, basically where I see it. For context, the reason I want to talk about this is I think eVTOLs are like really important, and I am a helicopter pilot. Just so you are aware, I did work at a company called Beta Technologies. They are, like, in my opinion, the absolute leader. I'm not just saying that because I did work there. I legitimately think they have the best product in this space. I worked there as a helicopter CFI. They have some incredible programs that they give to employees. One of them is free flight training. So all of their employees can get free helicopter and airplane training, which is phenomenal. I worked there as a flight instructor. So I was just teaching people how to fly helicopters. I had no connection to the development of the eVTOL or anything, but I did work there and I talked to some of the people there, and I think it's a phenomenal product. I have no connection to the company now. I just wanted to give you that context. I'm going to explain why I think they have the best product, but this is more a video towards like pilots, people that are in helicopters, in the helicopter industry. Just where is the market right now in 2025? So let's talk about some of the big names in eVTOLs right now. The first one is Beta Technologies, by far the leader. Where they're at legitimately right now is they are test flying ALIA. You can see this on their Instagram. You can see this on their YouTube. We're going to check that out. There are multiple reasons why I think Beta Technologies is the leader, but one of them is they're thinking like way far ahead. They are already building their charging network. So, okay, you got these electric airplanes, but like, where are you going to charge them? How are you going to charge this? They've already started putting these in airports. I think they're the only company doing that, so that's a game changer. And then like where they're actually at, they have a factory and they are starting to produce these eVTOLs. Now, this is also like a new and emerging market, but like they're there. We're going to go through all these aircraft designs because like I want to talk about it, but let's quickly just jump into the next couple. Joby is another one of the big players. They have some strong FAA progress. They're working through the certification process. They have already done some flight testing too, and they also have a factory making aircraft. So there's tons of money behind these companies. There's, I put green where I think these are like legitimate companies, like really, they've got a lot of chances. And then there's like Archer. Let's come down here. Archer is really focusing on like urban air taxi. We're gonna get into that. I have some thoughts about that. They are making a lot of hype. They have, I think, connections with the UAE, United Airlines. So there's a lot of excitement with Archer. They have a factory gearing up for 2025. They're going to start to produce. And then you've got some like other weird ones, not weird, but you've got some other ones like Lilium. Lilium went insolvent. I think there's kind of all stalled out, and then there's others that are like struggling, no production. So let's come back up here. I want to talk just like as a pilot, just like kind of go over the aviation designs of these. I put here sketchy, anyone, because is this not, eVTOLs are just kind of sketchy because they're new, but on some of these designs, you have these rotating props, so they can lift up like a helicopter, and then once they're forward, they can start pulling you through the air. It's a tilt rotor kind of type of design. If you kind of think of like the Osprey is a military tilt rotor helicopter, and the Osprey has some challenges that it faces, but tilt rotors are like just kind of sketchy in my opinion. I mean, there just seems like a lot of failure points, and there's a lot of forces and friction. The reason why I legitimately think Beta is like they have the best aircraft design is, and like I said, I don't work for them anymore, but I'm just going to explain this as a pilot. So they have this big airplane wing. They've got a big wing that it can glide on. This helicopter can glide like an airplane. They got the fuselage underneath, but they're still an eVTOL, so vertical takeoff and landing. They have these 4 horizontal propellers, well, rotors, I guess, that are going to lift it up like a helicopter. So picks it up, and then it's gonna tilt down using those rotors and slowly accelerate and gain airspeed. Once it is at a suitable airspeed, it can fly like an airplane off the wing. So you are not going to be using these propellers as your main flying device. Now, all of these have some sort of wing, but Beta has like this huge wing, so it can come down, and this design can land, take off like an airplane with a pusher in the back. So once you're like up and going, it's got a pusher that will push you through the air. But it can pick up like a helicopter, then use the pusher in the back and glide on the wing or fly on the wing, and it can land like an airplane, or it can also come down and land vertically using the props or the rotors. I think this is just like a really clean design. Joby's is like a little bit different. The thing about betas is like they don't have these rotating mechanisms. They don't have these pivot points. Joby has a pivot point. Archer has a pivot point. Pivot points are sketchy, right? I don't know. To me, that's just like a little bit, I don't know all about that. So let's keep going. eVTOLs are not just a concept anymore. These things are flying. Beta Technologies has flown their helicopter in a proven hover. They've done the full transition from vertical to forward flight and then back down, leading, in my opinion, with real flights. I think by far they're the leader. Joby and Archer, they have flying prototypes. Testing is underway. Close, but I don't think they are at the beta level yet. Like we talked about, Lilium and others, they're kind of stalled out, struggling. I want you to watch this video. This is like, this is a big deal. So let's come down here and let's watch this full video. So this was posted 10 months ago. Let's see if we can get the actual date this was posted. April 23rd, 2024. So this is them transitioning, doing the transition from helicopter mode to airplane mode. You gotta watch this.
Liam.
You know what, let me mute this and I'm just gonna talk through this to the best of my abilities. I don't know that I'm gonna explain it correctly, but so it's gonna start with its 4 lift motors going, and it's gonna pick up like a helicopter. So hover, and you can hover laterally just by thrust vectoring. You can pitch and roll. You can also yaw this helicopter via thrust vectoring by just, I guess, spinning the RPMs of the different props. So in a hover, they start to turn the pusher on the back to slowly start to gain some airspeed, and they're going. Now, this is still flight testing, but flight testing is absolutely fascinating for a new aircraft, and you have to give them credit, all of them credit, for trying to do something new. So they're accelerating, and at some point, they're gonna have enough forward airspeed where they're not gonna stall, and they will be on the wing. So they're continuing to accelerate, pitch down, using the pusher, that thrust vectoring, accelerating through the air, and then at some point, they're going to be above their stall speed, and then they can stow those props up here in line with these booms. So at some point, they're gonna stop and they will be in like airplane mode. There you go. So they just turned them off. Okay, so now these props have stopped and they're just flying off the airplane. So you've got your ailerons and elevators back here, pusher as your main push device. How fascinating is that? And then let's come back in for the full transition back to a hover. So you got to do both. So it can land like an airplane just like regularly, but so they turn on the pushers, start pitching back, start slowing down, coming down. Let me turn the sound up a little bit. Well, we don't really need it, but start pitching back. Props are coming in. Pitching back, slowing your rate of descent. Pitching back, into a hover. Look, stopped. Basically no forward movement. Pusher's not pushing. Drop it down like a helicopter. Full piloted transition. That's why I believe that they are the leader. I mean, Joby has done some stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's not piloted. For Beta to do this as a piloted thing, they're onto something here. Here's the number one problem with these eVTOLs, in my opinion. They've got multiple problems facing them, but here's the number one, in my opinion: battery tech. This is the biggest limiting factor. Short flight times, it's not practical yet. Helicopters are inherently like very energy intensive, and it's not a smooth operation. Like airplanes, inherently stable, very smooth. Once you're on the wing, they glide. Helicopters, you're just constantly beating the air into submission. That's what people say. So it's just very energy intensive. Batteries right now are not the greatest energy density sources. Electric helicopters, not happening anytime soon. So incredibly energy demanding. Why is Beta different? I sound like a Beta boy, but I have no affiliation with them, but I truly think they've got a good product. Fixed wing plus hover, more range, minimal helicopter time. So you climb out of your tight spot, which helicopters are great for, and then you transition to forward flight. What you're gonna hear that I'm not talking about is I am not talking about utility. I am not talking really, maybe this could do helicopter EMS, you know, if you got like a scene, landing zone, or a hospital, you can do that. But utility, no. Firefighting, maybe, but like really sitting in the hover, like utility, or if you're doing like police chases or news stuff, when you like just really need to sit in a hover, this is going to draw so much power from those batteries and they're going to drain out fast. It's not like in a car, there's some resistance obviously due to the road, but you're on a flat surface with wheels that roll. Helicopters and aviation and like a vertical platform that is just hovering, so energy intensive, so energy intensive. Is this a market threat? Here's one. This is hilarious to me. Okay, so offshore transport, like oil and gas, they've got those offshore oil rigs. I actually think this could make sense. You know, you take off and then you land vertically on an offshore platform. I think this is most likely to be replaced first. It makes sense, but also, LOL, ha 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 ha. How funny is that if you have like an electric, environmentally sound aircraft going to the offshore world to an oil and gas platform? Like the irony is just, I love it. That is hilarious. Here's another point I want to get into. Urban air taxis, maybe, but New York City is a nightmare for eVTOLs. One thing about a helicopter is if the engine fails, it can auto-rotate. That's pretty great. I don't know how these machines auto-rotate, or do they auto-rotate? Like, what is the failure mechanism if the batteries run out? Or, I mean, I guess, so they can all glide. Okay, so maybe it's more like an airplane thing. But like, if you're in this hover mode and one of these fails, what does the thrust vector, so okay, like let's say you have one of the motors fail, or on beta, if you have one motor fail, what happens? Does it instantly rotate? Like, does it flip over? Terrifying, right? Because if you have balanced lift and then one fails or one slows down, like maybe it just loses voltage or the connection isn't great, and is it just gonna tip? Terrifying, right? So market threat, but New York City is a terrible place for I think these eVTOLs to operate. Now they talk about like urban air mobility. That's like one of the big markets. But so I flew down to New York City. I was a charter pilot, and I flew the 407 down here in New York City. So let's just look at this real quick. We're gonna look at the West 30th Street heliport. Okay, are you gonna have good quality or bad quality? Bad quality, but that's okay. So here is West 30th Street JRA. It is on the west side of the island of Manhattan in New York City. So this here is the island of Manhattan. Yeah, you can see my mouse. Here is the Hudson River, the East River. There is a heliport on the west side called West 30th Street. There's a heliport on the south called Downtown. And then there's a heliport on the east side called East 34th Street. There's some other ones, but that's mostly it. So over here, you are looking at West 30th Street heliport. This is on the west side. You've got multiple different landing zones. Here's the thing. In New York City, the predominant winds are out of the west. So winds blow from west to east. So winds blow from the west to the east. So that means when you are coming into West 30th Street heliport, you have a tailwind. This sucks. It sucks. You were trained when you go down to New York City, like how to make approaches safely, but you're pretty much always taking a tailwind of some manner. Now you typically, sometimes you come straight into your spot. I think this is 1, 2, spot 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's say this is spot 3, whatever. Let's say you're coming into spot 3. If you're coming in, you can sometimes take a direct tailwind, but usually you would try to take like a little bit of a crosswind. A little bit of a crosswind is, some crosswind angle is better than direct tailwind, but like these eVTOL designs, like how, I mean, I know in a helicopter, let's see, can I zoom? Oh, can I go back? Yeah. So I know in a helicopter, I know how my helicopter is gonna operate with a tailwind, but like this design, Beta's like with a pusher and these lift props or Joby, how is that gonna handle a tailwind? So maybe it's better than a helicopter. I don't know. Maybe it's worse, but like really challenging, really challenging. And as I was talking through it, like it is kind of concerning. Like if you have a lift prop fail, I don't know, just interesting. Or like, what if a bag comes up, a piece of FOD, and a helicopter with a big rotor disc? I mean, there's a lot of weight and inertia there. I just don't know how it works with all these different ones. So I think there's a lot to prove. And the fact that me as a helicopter pilot are having these considerations, and I'm a pilot thinking about this, what does the general public think about this? But we'll get into that. HEMS, utility, or logging, I don't see this happening anytime soon. I'll give you my time frames that I actually believe, but I don't think anytime soon. Battery tech and battery weight and redundancy and weather factors, I think there's zero chance anytime soon. Like I said, I'll tell you those times, but let's talk about this. Battery tech, we just don't have enough energy density in these batteries yet to like make it, I don't know, like the actual flight time, I don't think it's going to be that long, especially in vertical operations like utility or logging. I don't think so. Battery weight. Batteries are extremely heavy. So how much can you actually carry? Like if you're doing utility in an A-Star, or even if you're like doing helicopter, air, ambulance, and you need to be a little bit lighter, you just put less fuel in it and then it's a lighter aircraft. Or as you fly along, it's a lighter aircraft if you're going up in altitude or something. It becomes a lighter aircraft. With batteries, the weight never changes. So you're stuck at a fixed weight, which is fine, but those batteries are so heavy. Like, what is the actual weight capacity of these helicopters going to be? Like, are you going to be able to actually carry patients and a full crew? How much utility, how much can you undersling from these if you're ever able to? Like, how much are you actually going to be able to carry because these batteries are so heavy? They're full of metal. I have a picture. Yeah, aluminum, I think, nickel, I don't know, but very heavy. And then weather factors. I know they're all talking about this and figuring this all out, but a helicopter can fly in rain. I'm really not concerned about a flame out at all because turbine engines and piston engines to some extent, they can absorb a good amount of water. Like turbine engines, there is a set amount of water, and it's like a significant amount of water that they can ingest and stay ignited. If you fly in rain, like I literally have no fear about it. We have auto igniters, we have engine heaters, so we've got things to help us. What does this look like with an electric motor? I'm sure there's going to be like water, some amount of water tolerance, but how much water penetration can it really take? Like if you're flying good visibility, but it's just like raining a lot, that's tough. Are these things going to be IFR capable or suitable? What's the static electricity of flying in a cloud? How's that going to affect it? When you fly a helicopter, you have to ground the helicopter. How much static electricity? So these are all the things I think about. This is why I think still very far out. The automation myth. Okay, here's a thought I have, and I wanted to know your thoughts about this. Like, how do you analyze this? But self-driving cars are still struggling. Tesla is doing pretty good. All the other companies like Ford, I know Chevy, GMC, they all have some sort of cruise control, advanced cruise control, self-driving, but they're not like all the way there yet. And if they get confused about something, they'll just kick themselves off. Semi-trucks, I thought we would have, like when I was a kid growing up, not that long ago, yes I know, but I thought these semi-trucks and cars would be totally autonomous now. They're not really all the way there yet. But here's the question. Initially I was like, okay, aviation is going to be way harder. It's aviation, it's harder. I don't know, actually maybe aviation is simpler to automate. And you think about like the airlines, I mean, they pretty much do a full autonomous flight, like from takeoff to, especially in cruise, the whole thing is on autopilot. I use autopilot all the time. Now coming down in a helicopter, I am hand flying, but maybe aviation is easier. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's actually easier to automate the aviation side than it is a car, but a car is not dealing in 3 dimensions, it's dealing in 2. So I don't know, what are your thoughts? Is it easier to automate like an eVTOL, or is it easier to automate a car? I don't know. Aircraft automation, nowhere near full autonomy. I don't think that's close. And then here's a big factor, public trust. I think the trust in this stuff is like not that close. And people are very trusting of the airlines, but that's kind of been shaken after earlier this year, that DC airline crash with the Black Hawk and the whole 737 MAX debacle over the last decade. Public trust, I don't know, it's not all there. And I know me as a pilot, I trust another pilot more. Yes, pilots have problems and not every pilot is a good pilot, but I trust a pilot over autonomy as it stands right now. I think to actually get full wide-scale adoption of this, it's going to be far out. Here's one thing I will say about Beta's approach. They're not going for this full automated no pilot system. They're going for piloted first, automation later, which I think is super wise. Yeah, have someone that has intuition. I'll get into this on the last slide, but like pilots have intuition. They know how to fly. They know what to feel. They know how to, they can smell stuff. They can sense stuff. They can feel stuff. That helicopter system or an autonomous system, I don't know if they can. All right, almost done. What helicopter pilots should do. So if you're a helicopter pilot, if you work in helicopters, if you're kind of in the helicopter industry, here's my assessment. This is just like my recommendation. Helicopter pilots are safe for now. I don't think you need to worry about your job at all. I have to tell you, I have zero concern about my job going away right now. I think here's my numbers. 10 years minimum of career security. I think if you want to go become a helicopter pilot and it takes you, let's say, from 0 to 5 years, and then I think you have at least 5 more years of like full career time before this could even potentially be a problem. 20 years, yeah, okay, we're potentially getting it like, okay, it's 2024, like 2044, no, it's 2025. 2045, I totally think that there's a chance that this could be real, but I really don't know. Here's a thought I have about this. New tech means new opportunities. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll talk about this on my conclusion slide, but I don't think this is all bad. Like, let's say they do figure all this out. I think there's still going to be a room for pilots, not just job losses. It would be incredible because then my wife wouldn't have to yell anymore. I sit in a helicopter all day and it's extremely loud. I feel fine, but just in a loud environment, yeah, it's gonna affect you. So a quiet environment, I think that's great. Here's what to do. Stay up to date, but do not panic. There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of money. I think this is really far out. Here's something to think about. So the H-140, we made the video about that. The R-88, Robinson is an established helicopter company. They're still half a decade out. Airbus, they've been test flying this for 3 years. The AW09, all of these established helicopter companies that are building turbine engines with known commodities, that process to do that and go through certification is 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, extremely long periods of time to actually go through the certification process. The amount of time it's going to take for a brand new technology that operates in a brand new way that we don't know all of its limiting factors, I think you should not worry. I think we're fine. It takes forever to certify a new helicopter by an established manufacturer. What is it going to take for a brand new technology by brand new companies? I think you're going to be okay. If you want to become a helicopter pilot, go do it. You're not going to waste your money. If you go through all of the certification process and you get all your ratings and you get all your hours, I'll post to a video here like how to become a professional helicopter pilot. If you do all the things, you're going to have a job. I think you'll have a job in the next 5 to 10 years. Without question. All right, here are my thoughts. I kind of just got into them, but let's actually go through this slide. Here's where I'll lay it out. Flying helicopters, you need physical flying skills, intuition, general awareness, forethought, and extremely instinctive reactions. Being a helicopter pilot, I talk about this and I love this feeling about flying a helicopter, but you wear that helicopter on your back. You feel it, like you feel that little shimmy in the tail, you feel a little roll, you feel a little pitch, you feel a little, you smell it, you feel it. You are that helicopter. That helicopter is you. You have this connection. I don't think computer systems are totally there yet, especially for the type of flying that helicopters do. EMS, utility, long line, all of offshore, all of these things like are very intense, like very dramatic, and you have to like be able to feel and sense every single aspect of it. Yes, drones can do it too, but you're flying with people on board, and if you have something slung underneath or you're trying to get into a really tight LZ, there's just a lot to do. So I think that technology is still pretty far off. I don't think the tech systems are there yet. Everyone gets freaked out by automation, but like automation is a natural part of life and it is 100% a good thing. Yes, jobs are lost, but typically more jobs are built with automation. With new technology, more jobs are built and you are doing things more efficiently, doing things faster. Horse and carriage driver replaced by automobiles. Yes, those people were pushed out of jobs, but they will find jobs. Lamplighters. This was a job. I didn't even know about that. Replaced by electric streetlights. Factory line workers replaced by robots. Video store clerks replaced by streaming services. Automation comes and people's lives get better. Yes, you're going to potentially lose your job, but there will be more markets. I think the thing with helicopters is I think it's really far out, but let's say these systems do come online and pilots are pushed out of jobs. Pilots are smart, people that work in helicopters are smart, the industry is smart, we're going to be able to adapt and improve, and you're going to be able to go find a job. But also flying is such a passion and such a hobby, and I don't, even let's say like there's professional jobs in like, let's say helicopter, air ambulance, and EMS, these are all replaced by like eVTOLs or something. you're going to be able to land with your feet on the ground. You're going to find a job. This is very hopeful. But let's say you still want to go fly a helicopter. I think you're still going to be able to go fly a helicopter. You want to go fly a Bell 407 and go rip around? Sure. You want to go fly your R-44? Sure. If you want to go fly your Cessna 172, I think at a minimum, aviation is not going away. So if you like helicopters, there's going to be helicopters to fly. Our work may change potentially in 20, 30, 40 years, but we're going to be able to land with our feet on the ground. Typically, even if we don't see it right now, our jobs maybe are lost. I don't think it's going to happen soon, but we're going to be able to land with our feet on the ground doing something. I think everyone, if you're a hard worker, if you're competent and willing to try, you're going to be able to land with your feet on the ground, but I really don't think this is soon. I want to live. Safer tech means better chances. I love aviation, but I don't want to die in an aircraft. I think innovation pushes safety. It just definitely does. There are struggles, there are negatives, but I think innovation just pushes people to be better, pushes the industry to be safer, to more awareness, more learning, more systems to back up pilots. At the end of the day, I still like hand flying, but I do want, like, if there's a backup system that could tell me I'm doing something wrong or help me fix when I get into a situation, like, think about inadvertent IMC is one of the biggest killers of helicopter pilots. You go inadvertent IMC, you get disoriented, and then you crash and die. If there's a button on the cyclic that I can just push and it brings the helicopter to a straight and level attitude, it brings it to a safe position, is that bad? No, that is great. I think automation is in general a good thing, and it makes us safer. It gives us a better chance to live. So I think with all this technology, innovation is going to continue to grow. We could all fly an electric aircraft. We could all fly in an electric aircraft, but the aviation market is not going away. I don't think helicopters are going away. I don't think airplanes are going away. I think even 30, 40, 50 years out, I don't think we need to really be fearful or scared. I think we are going to be all right. All right, so there you go. eVTOL analysis for 2025. I think maybe I'll do this like as an annual update and see how things are progressing. I think we're fine. I really do. I think if you want to become a helicopter pilot, you're not going to waste your money. There are jobs out there. I'll link to a video right here where I talk about how many jobs are out there. There are 100% helicopter pilot jobs out there. I think you're going to have a job for 5 years. I think you're going to have a job for 10 years. I think we're going to be okay. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think eVTOLs are going to push pilots out? How far out is the industry? Where are these going to work? Are these going to work in helicopter, air ambulance, utility, firefighting, offshore? Where do you think these really fit? Let me know your comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.